todos esperando por cama, esperando por oxígeno. No sabemos cuándo lleguen. No.
You've tuned into Stranger Than Fiction News, broadcasting live from the dark side of the planet. A massive surge hits hospitals. The hospitals are overrun. This is what the Wuhan supervirus is supposed to look like. But for some reason, in America, right now, there is no surge. There is no crisis. There is no epidemic, except in New York, it would seem, ladies and gentlemen. But most other places are more or less symptom-free, it would seem like. Hospital after hospital is empty. They're dancing. They're happy. They're joyful. There's nobody there, ladies and gentlemen. There's nobody there. They got so much time on their hands. They're partying over there. What happened? What is going on with this Wuhan supervirus? Look at this shit, ladies and gentlemen. Tell me these aren't crisis actors right now. Tell me that there isn't something suspicious going on right now. What is the meaning of this? We'll be getting into that and so much more in the news. But there's a stark contrast from what we're seeing in other countries and what we're seeing in America. Perhaps it's the fluoride that has saved us, ladies and gentlemen. Perhaps it's our prayers. Did we dodge the bullet? What don't we understand? That is the question right now that people are asking. Any case, let's get into some of the news, ladies and gentlemen. Test and trace. This is how the United States could emerge from the coronavirus lockdown. Test and trace. They want your DNA. They've been wanting your DNA for so long. They need to be able to clone people in case you step out of line. It's test and replace. But they'll use your smartphone for the trace. Oh, yes. More propaganda. The World Health Organization says it's unclear whether recovered coronavirus patients are immune to a second infection. Why stop there? Why not a third infection? Why not a perpetual infection, a forever flu? An airborne AIDS that gives you the forever flu and people continuously relapse into COVID. Ladies and gentlemen, what is the situation? What is going on out there? You watch the news and you think like it's the end of the world, it's the apocalypse. People have gone to the hospitals and this is what they've found. They're dancing. They're having a party. There's nobody there. It's empty. Not in other hospitals though. Man, in Ecuador, it's looking so bad right now. So bad. It looks just like China. It looks like Iran. It looks like Italy. What's going on with this super virus? Is it super selective? Is this a super strain? We'll get into that. Video inside our COVID-19 surge tents. Oh, well, let's have a look at what's in the surge tent.
Surge?
Yes, hold on. We don't need to listen to them. But we can watch the surge in action. Yes, there is no surge, ladies and gentlemen. Makes you wonder what they're doing with all the sick people, though. Are they liquidating them? Is it a humane type of euthanasia? Where did all these people go? It's so strange. For days, feels like months, people have been filming these hospitals, and there's nobody there. New Jersey could hit coronavirus peak in 2 to 3 days. That article there was published on the 10th. We're now the 13th. We should be seeing the surge, but it looks like we might have missed it. It looks like it might have hit a month before anybody really knew it was hitting, and they were just burying all the people as flu cases back then. That's what they're suspecting now. The peak happened like a month ago, but they're just trying to drag it on like little fucking tyrants, saying you can't buy gardening supplies, you can't go outside. Ladies and gentlemen, New Jersey could hit coronavirus peak in 2 to 3 days. We're still waiting for the surge. Any case. There it is. There's the surge. The tidal wave. You can see them fighting it out with their garbage bags. It's funny, I mean, we can send people to the moon. We have like astronauts with, on the ISS, they say. And yet, our frontline staff is wearing garbage bags and tampons as masks. Does that seem a little strange to you? Seems pretty strange to us, ladies and gentlemen. Just like these death towers. Very strange indeed. They look disturbing. You need to educate your fellow neighbors on the dangers of these death towers. That way, if they go up in flames in your town, and the poor guy asks for a jury trial, everybody's gonna say, not fucking guilty. Hello. That was a death tower. New Jersey hospitals consider do not resuscitate orders for coronavirus patients to protect doctors. No shit. The quicker they can kill you, the fucking better, is what that article is saying. You can check out all of these reports on our website, stfnreport.com, for Stranger Than Fiction news, stfnreport.com. You don't like the news? Go back to NBC. Go back to Rachel Madcow. That's what this virus will give you. Rachel Madcow disease. Quite literally, brain degenerative disorder, according to scientists. Do you believe it? What's the real story? What's the real virus? The one that we're seeing on television overseas, or the one that we're seeing in America? Listen to this. The Justice Department may take action next week against local governments that have cracked down on religious services as widespread parts of the country are shut down. You know, in the very first amendment to the Constitution, it says government shall not make a law pertaining to the establishment of religion. They can't tell you when you can or can't go to church, ladies and gentlemen. Now the question is, do you want to go to church? Do you want to go to your local church right now? That is the question. I suppose we could get into that. Big Brother is watching you. That's what this technology is for. It's not so that you can share. It's not so that you can like. It's surveillance. And it's there to control you. And the whole idea of shadow banning people, I mean, it tells you what these folks are all about. They want you to think that you're participating, but essentially you're not. It's kind of like when you go and vote, right? You think you're voting for your candidate, a Republican or a Democrat, and that you're on the winning team. But you're actually on the losing team. You don't actually get a choice because these candidates are pre-selected for you. What is going on with the video guy? We're starting to ask questions. Not sure about you guys out there. How's everybody doing? We're hacking the Matrix right now on the ScrewTube. If you watch this on Fakebook, you'll want to find us on the ScrewTube. Coordinates are on the website, stfnreport.com. The mayor of Los Angeles says snitches will get their rewards. No shit. Sounds exactly like what the Stasi were doing. Socialists, by the way. Ohio prosecutor threatens felony charges for violating stay-at-home order. Okay, so you understand what shelter in place means, don't you? Shelter in place means you grab your ankles, you stay at home, you grab your ankles, and you wait for them to show up to penetrate. They're going to penetrate. They don't use the Astroglide. You understand what I'm saying? So you need to stay at home and wait for further instructions, right? Otherwise, you're going to get hit with felony charges in Ohio. Are you feeling free yet? You know, we're about to celebrate the 4th of July in 3 months or less. And let us not forget these times where they took our rights away from us and imprisoned us at home with this plandemic. Another 9/11, another inside job. Doesn't get more obvious than that, does it? Don't forget about freedom out there. It's not free. Oh, and let's not forget about Google offering the federal government location data to track you, as well as Fakebook. And all of these candidates are buying ads on Fakebook. Lord, have mercy on our nation and give us the eyes of faith to seek and find the truth. In Jesus' name, amen. It's very nice prayer out there. Keep saying your prayers out there. The Obama administration, Obama is ISIS, repeatedly cut personal protection equipment stockpiles, failed to replenish supplies. This definitely seems like an operation of the DNC, of the New World Order, ladies and gentlemen. To say the least, what did the video guy do? If these death towers go up in your town and you're called to a jury trial, that's not guilty. Jury nullification. Dr. Fauci says that you don't need to change your behavior on February 29th, but now he's saying that Trump should have acted sooner. Very strange. I think if you look at the video archives on this channel, pretty much early on in the Wuhan lockdown, we're like, hey, look at this. Dead bodies everywhere. Maybe we should be locking down the big cities. Locking down Sodom and Gomorrah. Turning those death towers up to high just to see what happens. See if they shake and bake, just like these guys. And that's what we're suspecting has happened here. Is the virus all by itself perhaps isn't super extreme, but in the right conditions, this virus is a nightmare. And we're definitely looking at EMF pollution, 5G, 4G, as a root cause to the severity of symptoms, as well as air pollution. That seems to be another very common ingredient here. No kidding, no lie. Reduce your exposure to EMF. Go into airplane mode, ditch the smartphone, ditch the Wi-Fi, get an Ethernet connection. And, get the cleanest air that you can get. New York has got the worst air, believe it or not. You might think California has got some bad air, and they do. But New York air is like China. It's China syndrome. And, we could go on and on there. The impulse to authoritarianism is strong with this one. The coronavirus is exposing little tyrants all over the country. It's a cute phrase that we're seeing circulate over and over in the socialist media platforms right now. It is cute. It is catchy. Exposing the little tyrants that are trying to take your rights. Trying to be little Hitlers out there. Giving you the salute. Sending in the military to protect you. Obviously, one of the first things you learn in civics, history, social studies, government, is that government is not your friend. You have the right to free speech. You have the right to protest. You have the right to a free press. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to an attorney. You have the right to a jury trial, because the government is not your friend. That's who we are as a people. We overthrew the last government, and we put in place this one, because government is not your friend. But unfortunately, the last replacement was, 230 some years ago. Probably more. And seems like we need a revised edition. I think most people are seeing that, how out of control federal government has become. They've become the tyranny that we escaped from back in the day. Microsoft just took down their own commercial featuring the Satanist witch Marina Abramovich, made famous by the WikiLeaks, by the Podesta emails, and the like. The video, which had its comments turned off with 24,000 dislikes, has now been fully deleted. We have a copy of that. And it's disturbing. And to think that, major corporations are using Satanists as their spokespeople, that just, reinforces the idea that this is the beast system. And so if the devil comes by with a vaccine, what do you think you should say? Fuck the devil. In fact, we need to start a website called fuckthedevil.com, ladies and gentlemen. And if it's not there already. But quite literally, it's the same thing over and over again. Good versus evil. You've got the evildoers out there trying to deceive you and kill you. And it's just wherever you go. And it's not your imagination. This has been going on for thousands of years. Here's some video from Ecuador so you can see what a real outbreak looks like, which is happening right now. There's like dead bodies pretty much everywhere. And then you've got what's going on in America, and it doesn't seem like it's the same thing. Now, maybe it is. We've got these mass grave sites. Maybe there are real bodies in there. Maybe there is a real virus. The question is, why does it look worse in other countries? Maybe if you live in New York, you think it looks pretty bad right now. Until you go visit the hospital and there's nobody there. And that really kind of brings us to where we were at the beginning of this broadcast, which was this video. This is what their hospitals look like. This is what their streets look like. They look like they're having a real outbreak. Now, if people went to American hospitals and saw a scene like this, they'd be like, oh shit, yeah, wow. Stay home, everybody. Stay home. Look at that shit. If this was like Chicago or New York, if this is the scene, people, yeah, stay home. But instead, the hospitals are completely empty. Nobody there, nobody getting tested, no lines, no nothing. And the people inside are dancing. So you tell me what the fuck is going on out there. Pardon my language. You tell me what's going on. You tell me, where the real outbreak is at. This was supposed to be San Francisco. This was supposed to be, New York, Washington, D.C. But no. They didn't activate this virus. They got cold feet. They pussed out at the very last minute. They entered into the suicide pact. The New World Order basically signed on to the suicide pact like Jonestown. And everybody took the pill, drank the Kool-Aid, if you will, except Trump. So you really have to wonder what's going on. They didn't activate the death towers. Was it too obvious? What were they thinking, ladies and gentlemen? Let us know in the comments, what do you think about this situation? It is a perplexing puzzle, to say the least. But there's a stark difference between what's going on in Ecuador and what's going on in America right now. At least that's what it looks like. Now, I'm sure, you could sit there and make counter arguments. Perhaps they've only got one hospital for 10 million people. And we've got a lot more hospitals, so it looks less busy. And, perhaps they haven't told people not to show up at the hospital unless it's for an emergency. Perhaps they don't have testing sites, but we still don't see people at the testing sites. Ladies and gentlemen. And they don't want to answer that question. Instead, now that, these videos are out there, they're like, yeah, looks like we've gone past the apex and things are getting better out there. Yeah. Sure looks like it. I mean, all it took was really one hashtag, and at first people were like, no way, man. And then it's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's just everywhere. Nobody's getting tested. At first, you kind of think about it, well, people are staying at home, but they're not testing anybody. Be sure to check out the Declaration of Independence. Ladies and gentlemen, we posted a nice little audio copy for your listening pleasure out there. Looks like at the EU capital, headquarters in Brussels, things are getting way out of hand. And people just aren't accepting the lockdown anymore, it looks like. And that's eventually, what people are going to do. They're going to rise up and, take their country back. Although, these people are not from Belgium, it looks like. Sounds like Somalia, sounds like Somalian pirates. But in any case, they're invading and taking over. So there you go. That's the latest from Europe. Is it time to reopen America, ladies and gentlemen? The vast majority of people think so, but you'll see fake polls in the news media saying, oh, that people want to stay indoors, they want to stay quarantined, they don't feel safe out there. So they manipulate you, I mean, to the very last detail. And we saw this quite clearly in the 2016 election. I mean, every poll had Hillary up by like 1,000 points. There was just no way, for Trump to win, and so it wasn't even worth going to the polls, right? That's the idea. That's how their psyops work. That's how their COINTELPRO works. They try to manipulate you through the television. And it works. Of course it works. That's why they're so scared now, and they need to basically censor everyone. Now that anybody can broadcast, and put out their own propaganda, they're like, whoa, hold on a second now. We don't like that. When they said free speech, they didn't mean your free speech. They just meant our free speech. Fauci told us that there was no threat to America in January, but they were selling their stocks. Fauci in February told us to continue to go to the gyms, the malls, and the movies. In March, Fauci told us to go on cruises. Supposedly, he's been wrong every step of the way. Did you know that this doctor here, whatever her name is, was actually Fauci's personal assistant? Like lab assistant for many years. And so it's like a crew. And as well as the dude from the CDC, Redford. They were all like this big crew. And actually, we got some more interesting video. There's a lot of Fauci in the news today. And, well, we were going to go somewhere else, but we'll just keep going with the news. They say the UK is dead, near unanimous disgust after British police threatened to appear from the shadows to bust rural picnics. They have gotten way out of control. I mean, they didn't wait very long to go full Gestapo, chasing people away from their front yards back into their homes and the like. And look, they don't even pretend to be free out there. They don't have like, a president. You know what I mean? They've got a monarchy. And they don't even elect their prime minister. It's like appointed. So it's a very weird system. There's a reason why we broke away from that system, but they're still living it out there. And they speak our language. It's really weird. That's a David D's illustration, by the way. And he's out there somewhere. We've had him on the show before. A couple times, in fact. And now there's an outbreak, and it's just so difficult to keep in touch. There's a sailor on the USS Theodore Roosevelt that has died from the virus. 600 sailors on board are infected, they say. Another Diamond Princess. This is exactly why that captain basically sacrificed his career, was to warn the world of the dangers to our, people in service. And look at it now. Look at it now. So, look, is this a real virus? Why is it, happening over there? Why is it not happening over here? Did they spray something and we don't even know it? Did the wave hit us in the middle of winter and we didn't even know it? There's a lot of people, thinking like they could have had it in December. And you had a lot of TV people come on and say, no, you couldn't have had it in December. It didn't get here till January. But now we're finding out that, yeah, indeed, it might have been circulating in December. That, in fact, the outbreak was beginning to peak, at least the first wave in Wuhan, back in November. And, that basically moves the timeline up a month. It's a month sooner than what everybody else thinks it is, basically. Most people think, you know, it started in December over there and it kind of got out of hand in January, and that's when they locked it down, and then it started peaking after that. But it seems like it might have been all that plus a month, or should we say minus a month. So if you felt it in December, you might have gotten it. It hit a lot of people in the voice box. They lost their voice, and it seems like that's one of the major ways it communicates. Now, we're still, you know, fairly certain that there is a virus circulating out there. The question is, you know, what does it do really? I think we've seen its potential. The question is, will it happen to you? Now, Dr. Fauci was out there saying that if they had rolled out the lockdown sooner, it might have saved some lives. But they didn't do it, and it was really difficult and all of that. And I was just kind of thinking about this guy. I mean, he looks pretty sad. You can almost feel it. We need one of these here. By the way, if you've got an extra one, send it our way. Check out our website, stfnreport.com, for Stranger Than Fiction news, ladies and gentlemen. And let's see, what else we got? More attacks. Rebels have attacked 5G towers in the Netherlands. We're counting at least 6 towers being burned to the ground here, according to this intelligence report. And way to go out there. Here's the retired president of Microsoft Canada saying 5G and wireless technology is not safe. People that know that there's a problem with this technology. It's just that the lobbyists from the telecoms tell you that it's safe, and so you get these mixed messages. Dutch newspaper reports several cellular broadcasting towers have been damaged. And, you know, look at the work here. It's very nice. Very nice indeed. And as you can see, I mean, these things are just completely vulnerable. They tried to, you know, secure them a little bit more with the New Age towers. And they, you know, make them like lamp posts. But they've always got this hatch. Ladies and gentlemen, there's always a back door. And this is in Sheffield. We're hearing that there's been 30 towers taken down in Sheffield right now. And you can see, I'm not sure if you can see anything there. No, probably not. The video guy is an asshole. But the, you know, they just lit the base of it in broad daylight. This is a broad daylight attack by the rebels. And the Empire was quick to show up to try and, you know, put it out. It usually takes them an hour to show up, but here they were fairly quick in the UK. No, this is another. Yeah, UK. Yeah. Usually it takes them a while out there. But they were Johnny on the spot. Well done. 5G is a weapon, they say. What happened to what is this? Where? No, this is in our newsfeed. There we go. And in the UK, pandemic panic has people burning cell phone towers. 30 towers. This is a hospital in Moscow. Not sure what the video guy is doing here. But obviously fired. But as you can see, there's a long line of ambulances going to the hospital. We haven't seen that in America. Now, Moscow's got a pretty big, hospital system. So you really have to wonder, why don't we have this same thing in America? I mean, we should be thankful. Now, what is going on here? I think this is, more craziness. We're seeing a lot of craziness right now. A lot of stressful situations during the lockdown. People are snapping. You can watch that for yourselves on our website, stfnreport.com. Video guy at it again. But, you know, originally when the virus broke out in China, I mean, there was just dead bodies everywhere. They were burying people alive in the buildings. It looked like a very serious virus. Looks like a very serious virus in other countries. Doesn't look like a very serious virus in our country. And even less so in Canada and Australia. Makes you wonder what they know. Over 80% of COVID patients placed on ventilators in New York have died. Did they kill all of these people in New York? Is that why there's dead people? There would probably be less dead people than there are right now had they not killed them in the hospitals. Maybe you could say they were already dead. Well, maybe if they had, you know, stopped the flights as soon as they were getting reports, you know, they would have saved even more lives. Oh, we could play this game forever. Who's to blame for this virus? What do we do now? All you can say for sure is that they've basically imprisoned everyone right now in their homes, and you don't want to know what comes next. So tell Trump, tell Pharaoh to let our people go. We need a Christian homeland. We need to send the libtards to Canada. Mass deportation. That's the platform I'm running on for president 2020. Vote Ron Johnson. Anyways, Streets of Paris is starting to look like the movie I Am Legend, it looks like. And, yeah, there's just like deer just walking around like, hey, where'd everybody go? Dutch towers damaged. British towers damaged. What are you waiting for? Jury nullification? Educate your neighbors on the dangers of 5G.
Fluoride that they're talking about is a pea-sized amount of fluoride. You probably don't see that in advertisements, a pea-sized amount of fluorides. Usually when I see an advertisement, it looks more like a Dairy Queen ice cream cone. That amount is 1/4 milligram of fluoride. Well, that's the same amount of fluoride as what we find in 8 ounces of water. 1/4 milligram of fluoride, 1/4 milligram of fluoride. Don't swallow. If you do, call the Poison Control Center.
So, yeah, these people, you know, government is out to kill you. Have no doubt about it. And however they can get away with it, that's what they're going to do. They're criminals. They've always been criminals. They'll always be criminals. Washington nursing home. No hydroxychloroquine. 35 deaths out of 120 residents. Texas nursing home. Treatment with hydroxychloroquine. 1 death out of 135 residents. Anecdotal, but we're getting a lot of that right now. It looks like it was just the hydroxychloroquine by itself. Get it while you can. If you can. I'm not sure what is going on in China, but it looks like they just... Well, you get the idea. It's fucked up. The audio is even worse. It's like the moment it registers what happens, that's when the siren goes off. That's the way the Matrix works, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is New York. It's already starting to look like Mad Max. And this is actually like a pretty, you know, endless procession of bikes and four-wheelers and the like. When asked if the U.S. could reopen by May, CDC Director Redfield, who has been lying about the coronavirus for months, says the U.S. first needs to increase testing capacity and create a system of early case identification, isolation, and contact tracing, and also rebuild public trust. We must trust them before they're going to let us go. You see how this works? But, You know, they've been saying this stuff for months. They need to increase testing capacity. Their tests still don't work. What is it with this virus? It's so sneaky they can't detect it. So now you should be doubly suspicious. You know, they've got tests that's basically kind of like, you know, the 8-ball that used to be able to buy at a Spencer's gift store. You know, you just shake it and, you know, and whatever comes up, you know, is just kind of like the answer. That's what their tests are. That's what their tests are, basically. They roll it out in the middle of the flu and they're like, yeah, it looks positive. Is that it, or is it something else, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think? We think there is a virus. We think it's everything we've described it to be. But something is hindering its full potential in America right now. And we have to find out what it is. We need to know. Because right now, all Trump has to do is flip the switch and Sodom and Gomorrah could burn. What's he waiting for? You know, other countries have done it. They entered the suicide pact. They pushed the button. They didn't hold back. You know, people were betrayed by their government in country after country. And look, there's already 20,000 dead, they say, in America. What's a couple million more? Just push the button, Donald. Light up San Francisco. Light up Seattle. Light up New York. Light up Washington, D.C. That's what, you know, everybody signed up for. If they're not going to push the button, then they just need to lift the lockdown. What do you guys think about that? Lack of preparation is not an option. Ooh. You know, we were talking about the germ warfare exercises wherever they went. Don't think we're going to find that video right now. But
rumors, but I have not heard anything about the city burying people in parks.
Would you support that?
No.
What plans do you have to manage these bodies? I know there was...
I didn't know that there was an issue. I haven't heard that there was an issue. Has anybody heard that there's an issue? No. Did the city raise any issue? They talked to New York.
Well, we're not sure where the videos went of Event 201. There it is, CLADE, and just not happening. Video guy's on vacation. But, you know, endless videos of essentially the Johns Hopkins Bloomberg Center for Health Security of, you know, these pandemic exercises where, you know, they're basically formulating their talking points. What happened? This is unreal, ladies and gentlemen. Video guy is fired. That's it. In any case, this project for a new American century, this Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security, Bloomberg cooperative that is responsible for Crimson Contagion, CLADE, etc., etc. Oh, these people are all over, you know, CNN, Fox News, CBS, you know, basically shaping the narrative, just like CLADE, just like Event 201, just like Crimson Contagion. And what do we see in this Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security? You know, and they even reference CLADE pandemic exercise. What do we see here? Are you ready for this? Okay, so we got this, looks like a Senate hearing or a congressional hearing. And, you know, it's like a panel of doctors basically talking about CLADE on behalf of the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security. And who do we fucking have right here?
Has asked us to ship that to them for their discretion use as a countermeasure in the epidemic. So
the fucking rat is right here in the middle of the CLADE pandemic exercise testimony to Congress on behalf of, the crew. And it's just, it's the same actors. And, you listen to this panel of 4 doctors and you can figure out why they picked Dr. Fauci. John Hopkins, Center of Health Security, Biosecurity and Synthetic Biology. This is actually really interesting. Post, CLADE Pandemic Policy Exercise for National Leaders. Looks very nice. On the Hill with the CDC director. It's all the same crew. And they're, heavily intertwined. Bloomberg, John Hopkins, Redfield, Fauci, and the other girl, Dr. Nix, or whatever her name is. Let's see. The one that shows up right next to him. I don't know. We've got... I thought we had an image of them. There they are. So these two in Redfield, they're all connected to the Bloomberg School of Health, John Hopkins Center for Security. The same John Hopkins that's, putting out the maps everywhere. How many people are infected? How many people are, ill? So it's all related here. Ginkgo Bioworks. And we had other things that we kind of want to talk about, but we'll just continue on with the news. John Hopkins Center for Health Security. They're at the epicenter of this. Event 201 panel. This is their gig, right? And you look at these people and, you can tell that they're the type that would unleash a virus on your ass. GOP governor says that she will not shut down her state following the herd mentality. Republican from South Dakota. Hey, South Dakota's got a real low infection rate. They're not buying into all of this. Fauci's many mistakes and many lies. There will be losses. How a captain's plea exposed a rift. That captain basically, sacrificed his career to save his sailors, and probably many others as well. Governors are frustrated that the rapid coronavirus tests distributed by the Trump administration are largely unusable due to supply shortages. And this is actually a very incredible article, because you heard of like these new Abbott tests, the new little shake and bake test, basically toaster ovens. They were supposed to ship out 18,000 of them. They ended up shipping out like 100 or something per state. And not only that, but they've got like 200 cartridges for like the whole state of Illinois. They can only run like 200 tests for the whole state. It's like you've got these synthetic bottlenecks everywhere put up by the CDC, put up by the government to make sure that they can't test people. The French government has received 28 court cases against its management of the crisis. In every country, it's pretty much the same thing. They've been sabotaged. They don't have enough masks. They don't have enough ventilators. Nothing was prepared. And, they lied to the public the whole time, built this false sense of security. And, the targeting has been very selective. We don't know who these people were that were killed by this virus, but, a lot of people probably just got snuffed out. Have you noticed how much delight they are taking in shutting down churches all over America right now? These, little people that are trying to accomplish big things. Democrat governor admits adds U.S. flags to lists of banned products during the lockdown. So, that might just be bad press, but they definitely banned gardening products. You can't buy seeds. You can't buy, anything. You're not allowed to plant your own fruits and vegetables. So Trump retweeted a call to fire Fauci, but has since retracted. He let Hillary go. They look similar, don't they? You can almost see Hillary's face there. How Trump's dismissal of expert warnings focuses... let's try that again. How Trump's dismissal of expert warnings, how his focus on re-election and fears for the economy led to dire missteps and delays in White House response. But it was on purpose. The Chinese booted up this virus and the White House let it in. False negatives raised doctors' doubts about coronavirus tests. They don't work. And they don't know why they don't work. Is it because there's no virus? Is it because it's something else that's making people sick? It's not the virus that they can't pick up. It's the death towers. They're not equipped to pick up the death towers. And maybe you should get a meter out there. We found the best one. It's on our website, stfnreport.com. Shop around. You'll be back. And get your news updates there regularly. We update many times a day. And that brings us back to yesterday's news. Immunity cards from the Bloomberg, security. They want you to have your chip, ladies and gentlemen. So we'll keep an eye on this nexus of bad actors. But I think we're starting to see the outlines of this terror cell that actually released this virus. And we're going to start naming names. We'll leave it there for this broadcast. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Check out the Bible every day. Until the next time, if you're listening to this, you are the resistance.